go back and rewatch it. All right, here's what we're going to cover. Obviously, we'll go through the 10 common AdWords mistakes, and I'll also then talk about how you can avoid these mistakes. I do want to alert everyone to the free gift that's at the bottom. You can see you can grab the Ultimate AdWords Checklist by going to mainstreetroi.com/AdWords-checklist, and we will have live Q&A at the end. So Brett already gave an intro. Again, my name's Phil Frost. I'm the founder of Main Street ROI, and our business provides digital marketing services as well as training. We actually do a lot of these free webinars, and we also sell paid training courses. And to date, we've helped over 2,000 businesses with their digital marketing. As Brett mentioned, I've been featured in Forbes, Inc., Amex, as well as Mashable. And I'm also the very proud father of these two cute kids. That's my daughter Violet on the right. She is 3.5 years old. That's my chubby little son Emmett. He is just over a year old. And that's my beautiful wife Erin. And you can see the kids are trashing their playroom there. All right, let's get to the 10 AdWords mistakes to avoid. Mistake number 1 is targeting search and display at the same time. It's really important to understand that there's a huge difference between the Google Search Network and the Google Display Network. And taking a step back, you might, if you're new to Google AdWords, might not even know what that means. Well, Google Search is, that's when someone goes to google.com, types in a search, and then you see ads at the top of the search results. Those are Google AdWords advertisers targeting the search network. And then you might be just surfing around online, reading an article, and you'll see a banner ad or a text ad on that particular website that you're reading. Those are display advertisers targeting that particular site. So it's a big difference. With search, as I mentioned, prospects are literally searching for your product or service. And then with display, you tend to call this more interruption marketing. You're interrupting that prospect who is reading an article, watching a video. They're doing something else. They're not exactly looking for your product or service. So you really need to come at them with a different message and different targeting as well. As I just mentioned, each network requires different targeting and different ads. And the big warning here is that Google actually encourages advertisers to target both networks in one campaign. And that is a big mistake. You want to separate those out into the unique campaigns. So that is the solution. You want to have a unique campaign that's just targeting search. And then if you want to target the display network, you want to have a unique campaign that's just targeting display. And I do not recommend using, one of the options is search network with display select. I just highly recommend keeping those completely separate, and that way you can isolate the budgets that you're using for those campaigns, you can isolate the targeting that you want to use, as well as the messaging in your ads. All right, mistake number 2 is using the wrong keyword match types, and this is specifically on the search network. All right, why is this costly? Well, first of all, Google by default is going to make all of your keywords broad match. And this is a huge complaint I have with Google AdWords. I love Google AdWords. I think it's a great tool, and it can do wonders for businesses in terms of driving leads and sales. But unfortunately, a lot of these default settings will set you up for failure, and this is one of the big ones. If you're not familiar with match types, here's how they work. If you use the brackets, those square brackets, and put your keyword in there, and let's say it's NYC plumber, that's called exact match. And your ads will show up when someone types in NYC plumber, and with some of the recent changes, you'll show up with just slight variations of that keyword. But you're basically only targeting that specific keyword. Then there's phrase match. That's if you put your keyword into Google AdWords and put quotes around it. Now you're not just targeting the exact phrase, you're also targeting any keyword that's searched that includes that phrase. And the example here would be best NYC plumber. Since you're targeting phrase match NYC plumber, any keyword that includes that phrase will trigger your ads. So best NYC plumber would also trigger your ad. And then there's broad match, and this is kind of a free-for-all where Google can show your ads whenever they want. And here's an actual relevant search term, NYC plumber license. But if you're trying to get plumber prospects for your plumbing business, someone searching for NYC plumber license is definitely not a relevant prospect, and that would be basically a complete waste of your budget if you were advertising on that keyword. So what's the solution? I highly recommend you start advertising with just phrase and exact match. And then when you're ready to start expanding and get more reach, get more leads and sales, you can use what's called modified broad match. And that is a different type of broad match where you'll use the plus sign before the words in your keyword. And that tells Google, you can show my ads to different variations, but it has to include these particular keywords that I'm using a plus sign before. Now, even with that, you must use negative keywords, and that's actually going to be mistake number 3. See this a lot, just missing negative keywords. This is really important if you're using phrase match, like I just said, as well as broad match or broad modified. You absolutely need to have negative keywords. And if you're not familiar with what they are, negative keywords, they just prevent your ad from showing for anything that's irrelevant. In our example here, we would want, if you're a plumber and you're advertising, you would definitely want a negative match on license, because that's someone, another plumber looking to get licensed, so it's not a prospect for you. So you'll see that the minus sign and then license, that would be a negative keyword telling Google AdWords, hey, don't show my ads anytime someone is searching a related keyword that includes the word license. So if you had that as a negative keyword, your ads would not show for NYC plumber license. So the solution's pretty obvious. You want to add negative keywords to your account, and the way you do that is just brainstorm some of the obvious negative keywords, and you can just think about what people would search that's related to your industry, but would not be somebody that you would actually want to target. And another more advanced tactic is to use what's called the search terms report, and that's on the keywords tab of your account. And if you comb through that report, you'll likely find a lot of irrelevant keywords that are triggering your ads, and just find some of those words that are triggering it. It might be free, for example. Free might be triggering your ads. People searching for, free advice, but it's related to your industry. You might want a negative match on free, and that might show up in your search terms report. All right, mistake number 4 is not segmenting by devices. And another warning here, again, Google is going to default you into showing ads on all devices, and that means mobile devices, tablets, and computers. And as you probably know, prospects are going to behave a lot differently on each device. I know personally, when I'm on the go and using my mobile device, I'm not really looking to make a purchase. That's not true in every industry, but that tends to be the case in a lot of industries. Mobile devices are more research type searches and use, whereas when someone is ready to make a purchase, they'll transition and go to their actual computer. And the other key thing to keep in mind is that a lot of websites are not mobile friendly. And you can actually test whether or not your site is mobile friendly by going to this URL here. That's Google's free tool, google.com/webmasters/tools/mobile-friendly. And you'll just put your domain in that tool, and Google will tell you whether or not your site is mobile friendly. And if it's not mobile friendly and you are spending ads targeting mobile devices, then that is obviously a waste of your budget. You're spending a lot of money to send people to a site that's going to be pretty much frustrating to use on a mobile device. So my recommendation, unless your website is mobile friendly, you'll want to block the mobile devices from your ad campaigns. And in most cases, you'll actually want to do this anyways, even if you have a mobile friendly site. If you know that your prospects typically just do research on their mobile phones and aren't really ready to make that buying decision, then it might not even make sense to target mobile devices. Certainly when you're starting a new campaign, I tend to recommend blocking mobile devices and really isolating just the desktops and or computers and tablets. And that just gives you the best chances for success if you're targeting people who are sitting at their computer more likely to make that buying decision. Now, once you are ready to target mobile devices, then you will want to create a mobile optimized landing page. And while you're at it, you want to test and make sure that your pages are optimized for tablets as well. And unfortunately, right now, there's no way to not target tablets, even though, in my experience, they do have different performance across desktops or computers versus tablets. You'll have different conversion rates. Now, in the future, that should change, and you should be able to block tablets and even change your bids for tablets. But right now, you unfortunately need to target both computers and tablets. But if you don't want to target mobile, you can do that, and you just need to set what's called a bid modifier to -100%, and that just tells Google, hey, make my bid 0 for mobile devices, which effectively turns off targeting for mobile devices. Mistake number 5 is targeting the wrong keywords in the first place. And this brings up a key concept with Google AdWords advertising. There are really 2 distinct types of keywords. And I kind of hinted at this earlier. There's research intent type keywords where someone is doing research about a topic. And then there are buying intent keywords where someone has already done the research and now they're looking to make that purchase. They're looking to find the product or service that they're actually going to buy. And if you start your campaign targeting a lot of research keywords, then you're likely wasting a lot of your ad budget. Especially early on, you want to give your campaign the best shot for success, then you want to isolate those buying intent keywords and target those first. And then once you're ready to expand, you have a campaign working and you want to start testing new keywords, it may make sense to then start expanding to research intent keywords with different ads and different landing pages. So you want to ask yourself, what else could someone be searching when using this keyword? So go through your keyword list and just make sure when you ask yourself that question that that couldn't be someone in their dorm room just doing research to write a thesis for their college. There's a lot of keywords where when you ask that question, it could very easily be just a student doing research, and that would be a complete waste of your money to be advertising and having that person click on your ads. Another tip here would be to review the organic results for your keywords. So literally just go to google.com, put your keyword into Google, click search, and then review what Google is showing on the first page. And that's a nice shortcut because Google does a lot of research kind of behind the scenes with their algorithm to figure out what are people really looking for when they are searching for something, because Google's whole goal is to show the most relevant pages on the first page. So just based on their algorithm, they've figured out people are really looking for this type of information when they search that keyword, and you might find that some of your keywords are resulting in a lot of research-oriented articles, informational articles, rather than people offering products and services. And I already mentioned this, especially when you're first starting out, you want to focus on those buying intent keywords. Just give yourself the best shot for success. Okay, mistake number 6 is missing your keywords in your ad copy. And there are really 2 points I want to make here. First, when you search in Google and advertisers include the keyword that you searched in their ad, Google will actually bold those phrases, and that just makes your ad stand out, which will tend to lead to higher click-through rates. And obviously, when a prospect is typing a certain phrase into Google, they are going to be attracted to ads that include that phrase because they want to see what they just searched for. So that's going to ultimately lead to higher click-through rates. And higher click-through rates leads to something called, or leads to a higher quality score. And a quality score is something that Google calculates in your account, and it's on a score from 0 to 10, 10 being the best quality score that you can have. And quality score factors into how you are going to be ranked in the search results, in the ad search results. If you have a high quality score, you'll be able to bid lower and pay less for premium ad placement. And that's because the formula for your ad rank, so how you're going to be ranked in the search results and the ad results, is your bid multiplied by your quality score. So if you have a quality score of 10, you can bid $1 and your ad rank is now a 10. And let's say another competitor's quality score is 5, that competitor would have to bid $2, so twice as much as you have to pay to get that same ad rank of 10. So that's how a quality score plays a role, and that's why if you have a high quality score, you can get the #1 spot in the Google search results and actually pay less than competitors are paying to be in the number 2, 3, or 4 spot.
Hey Phil, we had a question of how do you find your quality score?
It's a great question. You can find that at the keyword level. So just go into your account, click on the keywords tab, and then there should be by default a column for quality score. If there's not, you would have to add that column in your account, and that's very easy to do. Just click on columns and then add the quality score. The other way to do it, there's a status column in the keywords report, and just move your mouse over the status for each keyword, and it'll be like one of those speech bubbles. So put your mouse over the speech bubble, a little pop-up will show on the screen. It will show your quality score, and it will also show you 3 factors that are playing a role. It'll be your ad relevance, your click-through rate, and the landing page experience. And Google will say you're above average, you're average, or below average, and that will actually tell you how you can improve your quality scores.
And just a follow-up question to that was, what's a good average quality score?
So that's tough to answer, and as you can imagine, it's all relative. If other advertisers advertising for that particular keyword have quality scores of 10, then you really, to be able to compete and have similar cost per clicks as those advertisers, you would want to have 10s as well. So ultimately, it's a relative game, and you want to have a higher quality score than your competitors. What I would recommend shooting for is a 7 or higher would be kind of your goal for the quality score. And with that said, it's not unreasonable or unheard of to actually have keywords with low quality scores that are still driving leads and sales at a good cost per lead or good cost per sale. And you certainly don't want to turn those off. So don't get too hung up on what your quality score is. You just want to continually work to improve it. And that, like I said, you can use that speech bubble to actually see what Google is telling you is wrong with the keyword, whether it's the click-through rate, the ad relevance, or the landing page. So the solution here, it really comes down to account structure. As I just mentioned, you want to have a high quality score, and one of the factors is ad relevance. And for your ads to be relevant for your keywords, you have to group them together properly. And you do that by grouping similar phrases into what are called ad groups. So just, if you might have a list of 100 keywords, you want to comb through that list and match up the keywords that are similar phrases. And then those are going to go in their own ad groups. And then you simply match that keyword phrase in your ad copy. And then ultimately it comes down to just continually testing new ads to try to increase your click-through rate. The biggest factor in your quality score is going to be your click-through rate. That makes sense because Google only makes money when people click on your ads, so it's in their best interest to encourage advertisers to write really good, compelling ads that get clicked on. That way everyone wins. That means Google's making a lot of money. That means you're getting a lot of clicks and traffic. It also means the searcher is finding what they want. They wouldn't be clicking on your ads if they didn't think they found what they want. So it's really a win-win-win situation.
Hey, quick question on a follow-up on the quality score was,
sure.
How do you know your competitor's quality score? Is there a way to do that?
Unfortunately, no. That would make it a lot easier.
Okay.
Yeah, Google does not reveal that. They don't. Unfortunately, that's kind of the black box. You don't know what your competitors are bidding, and you don't know what their quality scores are. All right, mistake number 7 is not having a congruent landing page. And ultimately, with advertising, your ads are going to make a promise to your prospect. They're going to search for something. They're going to see your ad, get excited about it. Your ad probably makes a compelling offer, some kind of promise. And then they click on your ad, and if they land on a page that doesn't match what they just clicked on, they're likely just going to click the back button and click on something else. They really, you've lost the trust at that point. It sounds very simple, but a lot of advertisers will make really compelling ads, but then drop the ball on the landing page because they don't re-emphasize what they just promised in that ad. So the example here, promising a discount in an ad, that you might be competing on price, and you might say, get 10% off, 20% off, but then you click on that ad, and you get to a page, and it doesn't actually say anywhere on that page that you're going to get 10% or 20% off. So that's actually very common and very easy to fix. Once you've isolated that problem, you just need to go into your landing pages and match the copy that's in the ad. But again, it starts with the account structure. In order to match your landing pages to the ads, you first need to group your keywords together like we mentioned before, and then write compelling ads for those groups of keywords. And then you want to have landing pages ideally for the different groups of keywords. And this is especially important if you're testing different offers in your ads. So you might have one ad group with a bunch of keywords, but you're testing two different offers and you have two different ads. Don't forget to also create two different landing pages for those ads. And that way, if you set this up correctly, you want to have a congruent path from the search, so that keyword that the prospect searched, then they see a message that matches what they just searched, so it's a highly relevant ad. Then they click on that ad and they see a highly relevant landing page.
Hey Phil, we had a question on landing pages. They asked, is the product page or the one with the add to cart page, is that the best landing page to have?
So that's going to depend on what you're selling. It sounds like this particular person has an e-commerce site, if you're talking about product pages and checkout pages. So you would definitely want to send them to a product page. And right now you might have your website built out, and the product pages, you can leave those alone, and you can then create a copy of whatever it is that you're advertising, whatever product it is, create a new page that's only for advertising, and that'll give you the flexibility to emphasize the offer that you're making in the ads, possibly even test different layouts and see what converts best, and then apply that to the rest of your site. All right, mistake number 8 is no compelling offer or having a weak offer. And what you want to do here is search some of your keywords and review who's already advertising. This is a great exercise. You don't need any fancy tools. Just go to Google, type in your keywords, look at what they're offering, and then just ask yourself, put yourself in the prospect's shoes, and then ask yourself, which advertiser has the best offer? And here's a rhetorical question. Which ad do you think will get the most clicks? Obviously, the advertiser with the best offer. And that's something that everyone struggles with, but you really can't make a campaign work with a weak offer. Doesn't matter how many tips and tricks you use, doesn't matter how well you structure an account, and how perfectly congruent it is. If your offer is fundamentally weak versus everyone else's offer, it's just not going to work. Prospects are going to click on the better offer. So the solution is obviously just figuring out a way to present a better offer than all of your competitors. And it's important to note here that you don't have to compete on price. That's what most people tend to think. Oh, I need a better offer, I need a better price point. But you don't have to start chopping your prices. Instead, you could add additional products and services as bonuses. So you can start make a bundled offer. You can make a stronger guarantee. It's possible that none of your competitors even guarantee anything. So just start emphasizing some guarantee, and that would make your ad stand out. And then also analyze which benefits your competitors are emphasizing. They might be emphasizing speed of delivery or speed of services, excellent customer service, whatever the benefit is. There are a lot of what we call Me Too ads. You might find that a lot of the advertisers are saying essentially the same thing, and your ad will stand out if you can come in with a different message and really hit a different benefit that might resonate more with your target audience. All right, mistake number 9 here, missing ad extensions. And this is more important than ever because Google is now including ad extensions in calculating your quality scores. And we already covered why quality scores are important. Now it's important to know that having ad extensions set up will actually lead to higher quality scores. And just generally speaking, ads with ad extensions will lead to higher click-through rates. So as you can see, that kind of all feeds in together. The reason for that, and if you're not familiar with ad extensions, if you do a search, you might find that some advertisers have a couple extra lines of copy, and they might have their phone number added to their ad. They might have some bullet points added, and even additional links underneath their ads. Those are called ad extensions. And ultimately, it makes your ad stand out because it looks a little bit different, and it makes it bigger, so it takes up more real estate. And just a reminder here, if you have higher click-through rates, that's going to lead to higher quality scores, which is going to lead to lower costs. So the solution here, I recommend you create all the appropriate ad extensions. And they're not all appropriate, especially if you don't want phone calls, you're not going to set up a call extension. But there's site links, that's going to be appropriate for pretty much everyone. Those are additional links that will be displayed below your ad, and you can have those point to different landing pages. You can have location extensions. That's if you have a physical location where customers come to. That makes sense to put that in there. It makes you look more legitimate because you have that location. It makes it easy for prospects to see that you are local, which might get them to want to do business with you versus the other competitors. The call extension is pretty obvious. That's going to show your phone number to drive phone calls. The call-out extension, the way I describe this is it's basically bullet points in your ads. So you just want to add some of the benefits or emphasize your offer in bullet point form. And this is one of a fairly new extension called structured snippets. This is basically a comma-separated list. It makes a lot of sense for e-commerce sites. You might have brands that you offer, and you can list the different brands as a comma-separated list. And this one's great if you can do it. The review extension, but it's not a customer review. You need it to be a third-party review from basically another business or another publication. So it's not a customer review. That's always a common misunderstanding with how that extension works. If you have a BBB account, Better Business Bureau, and let's say you have an A rating or an A+ rating, that would count as a review, and you could create an ad extension that says, A+ rating from BBB, and it would then link to your BBB profile on the Better Business Bureau. All right, the final mistake here, mistake number 10, no conversion tracking. This is a very common mistake. I'm sure you've heard Peter Drucker's famous quote, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. That is especially true with Google AdWords. Tracking ultimately is going to tell you what's working in your account, where you can reinvest your budget, and what's not working so that you can trim the fat or just turn something off altogether. And I actually recently published a case study that was about how conversion tracking led us to improve profits by 53% for one of our clients, and actually led us to increase the revenue per sale by 199%. And that's one of the recent blog articles on our site. That's a case study we just did. And ultimately, it's about conversion tracking. And we would never have been able to do that if we didn't set up the proper conversion tracking so that we knew what exactly was driving sales and we knew what was driving the higher dollar sales. So we then, it's pretty basic at that point. If you know what's working, turn off everything that's not working and focus your budget on what's driving sales and what's driving the highest value sales. So the solution here, add all the available AdWords tracking. You want to put the conversion code on your web forms. If you have an e-commerce site, you want to set up e-commerce revenue tracking. If you accept phone calls, you want to set up phone call tracking. And I'm sure, excuse me, Brett can go into more detail about how that works and why that's important. He already mentioned tracking that all the way back to the keyword level so that you can see which keywords are driving the most valuable phone calls. Ad phone call tracking is different. That's at the ad level. People can see your phone number in the ad and call that number. So that's slightly different than website phone call tracking. That's phone call tracking at the ad level. And then if you have offline sales, meaning sales come over the phone, in person, or in the store, you can actually track that as well. It takes a little bit more work, but that is well worth it so you can see exactly what's working and what's not working. All right, here's a quick recap. We talked about targeting search and display and how you need to keep those separate, making sure you're using the right match types. I would recommend phrase and exact match to start, and don't use broad. If you do want to expand, use modified broad. You want to make sure you have negative keywords in your account. You want to segment by device, and if you don't have a mobile optimized site, then just turn off mobile targeting. We talked about targeting the right keywords, buying intent versus research intent. We talked about putting the keywords in the ad copy, making sure your landing page is congruent, making sure you have a compelling offer versus your competitors, adding all of the ad extensions, and setting up conversion tracking. If you want help, the first step I would recommend is getting an AdWords audit, and that's something that we could help you with. And here's a quick review of what that would include. That would be a complete AdWords audit of your account. We'd give you a report card on what you're doing correctly, what needs improvement. Give you custom AdWords recommendations. It includes a 30-minute consultation with one of our ad analysts. And if you want to learn more, you can go to mainstreetroi.com/AdWords-audit. And with that, we'll open up to Q&A.
Thanks, Phil. That was terrific. I've got a couple questions here that have come in while you've been presenting. I'll kind of start first and go down. First one is, does Google AdWords have the ability to target demographics like job title, age, gender?
Yes. Definitely age and gender. I don't believe you can do job title. What you would need to do, I don't believe it is available by default. What you can do is contact Google support. We have a rep that we talk to, and we can get it turned on in the account, and it's called demographics for search ads. And that allows you to layer on demographic targeting in your search account. I believe by default it is already turned on for display ads.
Okay. All right.
And what you can, and taking that a step further with job titles and targeting different industries, that gets into the realm of interest targeting. Basically, that's a form of behavioral targeting. If you are surfing around online, and let's just say you go to ESPN a lot to check in on the baseball scores, if you continually do that over time, you'll be labeled as someone who's interested in baseball. And then advertisers can then target, let's say you wanted to target people who are interested in baseball because you're selling baseball gloves. That is actually an interest target that you can choose. So you'd want to dig into the interest targets to see which ones are relevant for the demographics that you want to target.
All right, we have another question. Looks like they have a brand new e-commerce furniture accessory business. They want to know, do we start by promoting awareness or giving an offer when launching the new brand?
So I would definitely go with an offer. I'm a big fan of direct response marketing and using direct response offers to build your brand rather than just an exclusive branding campaign. So my recommendation would be direct response, have some kind of offer, and that way you can still get the exposure and the branding that you're looking for, but you're also driving those conversions.
All right, and next question is there any additional cost for adding the ad extensions?
No, that's 100% free. Yeah, everything I went through as far as edits to your account, there's no cost to that.
Okay. Next question is, can you please elaborate on ad call tracking? If you want to talk about that, I can also talk about that too.
Yeah, Brett, I think that's a good tip for you.
So there's two different types of call tracking that you can do. There's a tracking number that you can place on the landing page when the visitor gets to the landing page, and you can track, number of inbound calls from that. The ad call tracking is where you have the phone tracking number in the actual ad copy or even in the ad extension if you want to do that. We recommend, like if you're trying to promote a local business, you'd want a tracking number that is a local number, so not a toll-free number but a local number in that ad copy or in that ad extension if you're trying to promote a local business so it looks and appears if you're local. And then you, of course, are the opposite on the toll-free. If you're more of a national business, you'd want a toll-free number. But that's the main difference in the two, is just the location of where the number is being displayed. And so if you want more information on that, more than happy to reach out. I can kind of show you how all that works, but that's the main difference between the two. But just like Phil mentioned kind of in his last slide, if you're trying to drive phone calls and phone calls is one of your conversion metrics, you've got to track that and measure it, and it can make a huge difference in driving calls. So not only knowing if you're driving calls from your campaign or that specific keyword, but are those calls leading to good leads that are turning into conversions. That's where understanding what's happening on that call can be so valuable. Is not only we're driving 20 calls a month from that campaign, but those 20 are turning into an appointment or something like that, so you can start linking those to offline success. And that's where what Convirza really provides is the ability not only to track it, but then track the conversion to what's happening. And that if you can measure those conversions, it makes a world of difference into making your campaign much more successful. Do you want to add anything to that, Phil?
Yeah, I'll just add that that case study I mentioned was a situation where we were driving quote requests, and then there was a sales process after that quote request. In this case, it was actually a web form, but it might as well have been a phone call, same thing. What we found was some keywords were driving a lot of quote requests, but not leading to sales. And that same thing can happen with phone calls. You could be driving a keyword might be driving, like Brett said, 20 phone calls a month, and you're really excited. That keyword, you definitely want to keep it. But then if you have the back-end tracking to say that's actually leading to sales or it's not leading to sales, that's the critical metric that then you can go back to your account and start making tweaks to say, this keyword drives phone calls or drives quote requests but doesn't actually lead to sales, so I want to turn that off, focus my budget on these other keywords that might not drive as much volume in terms of quote requests or phone calls, but they actually lead to sales.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So just kind of piggybacking on the importance of getting that data.
Yeah, it's super important. All right, next question. How do you feel about using company name as a keyword?
So advertising on your own company name. So there can be pros and cons. I'm on the side of the fence where I prefer to blanket the search results, and I would actually advertise on your business name. It's also the nice thing about advertising is it allows you to test, and you can send that traffic wherever you want to send it. Versus SEO, you might be ranking for your business name, but that's just likely going to your homepage. Let's say you run different promotions, and this month you're running some kind of summer promotion. You can put that in your ad and have a very specific landing page for that summer promotion, but you're probably not going to overhaul your homepage every month to run that promotion. So that gives you more flexibility, as well as just increases the chances that someone will actually click on your listing versus another website that you don't actually control.
All right, perfect. Next question is, can you share more details on how offline sales importing works?
Sure. So with the case study I was talking about, we're using, it's called the GCLID tracking variable. This is going to get a little bit technical, but basically when someone clicks on an ad, Google automatically adds a GCLID. So it's just like I think it's like 10 digits or 20 digits, and that's a unique ID for that click. And you can work with your web developer to make sure that that gets submitted through your forms on your site. And then ideally those forms are going into your CRM system, like a Salesforce, or we use Infusionsoft. And then your sales team then works those leads through the sales pipeline. Let's say at the end of the month you have 10 sales. You export those 10 sales, find the ones that have that GCLID, and then you would upload those IDs into Google AdWords, and AdWords matches those to the actual ad that was clicked on. I know that was kind of a lot. Hopefully that was easy to follow.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Next question is, can the landing page be on your website, or does it have to be a standalone landing page?
So it would definitely be on your website, and I would highly recommend that. And there are landing page tools out there, like Lead Pages is one. I'm blanking on the other name, but those tools allow you to create landing pages on their platform, but then put them on your site. You always want to put it on your site so that your ad shows your website URL.
All right. This one here is, on the landing page for an ad, is it okay to put a link to our home page in case people want to visit to check out more about us?
So my recommendation there, it obviously depends on your business and kind of the sales process. But I like to, so you paid money to get someone to your landing page. You have their attention. I like to keep their attention and don't let them leave that page. So if you want to explain more about your business, and that's an important part of the sales process, I would put that on the landing page versus letting them click a link to go to their home page where they're likely just going to get lost.
And then the call to action isn't usually on the home page, so that's, you're going to lose them
Right.
if you're trying to capture them. Yeah. All right. I think that's it. Oh, well, let's see. Now another question came in. Sorry. Do you feel landing pages are more effective if hosted on your site or some other site like Unbounce?
Oh, Unbounce is the one I blanked on. So all these tools, it really doesn't matter. You could use any of them. The tools are nice. They make it easy for someone that wants to use just kind of like drag and drop WYSIWYG type system, so you don't have to be a developer. That's the benefit of the tool. The limitation of those tools is that they tend to have templates that sometimes you have to fit your offer and message into. So if you have a developer and you can create landing pages on your site without a tool, I would do that. That's much more flexible. But then in terms of performance, all things equal, if it's the same page and one is built on Unbounce and one was built on your site, you shouldn't see any difference in terms of performance. It's the same page that the prospect is going to see because, like I said before, you can put a page that you create on Lead Pages or Unbounce. There's a way to make it so that it's actually on your domain. So from the prospect's perspective, it looks like it's just another web page on your domain.
Okay, and this is the last question, and we'll wrap up with this one. It says, can you track conversions for Facebook to Google Analytics conversions as well?
So yes, so that's kind of just to clarify. We were talking about Google AdWords advertising and conversion tracking within Google AdWords. And this question is talking about Google Analytics. And Analytics is a tracking tool that will track all of your different sources of traffic. And Facebook could be one of them. And you could have Facebook ads going to your website. Google Analytics will track that. And you can set up goals and conversion tracking within Google Analytics to track that.
Very good. Well, Phil, we really, really appreciate it. It's been great. Thank you for everyone that attended. These have been great questions and interaction. Be looking out for a follow-up email with the recording. And then also next week we'll have a new webinar presenter. If you'd like to join there, please do. So until next time, we'll see everyone later. Thanks.